All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Mission Roll Call Town Hall. As normal, my name is Whitaker. I'll be one of your hosts. And of course, on the other side, we have the esteemed Mr. Jim Whaley.
There
Jim,
you
how are
go.
you?
I'm doing well. That's the best thing that anybody's called me today is esteemed. So
Well,
we're starting out well.
sometimes,
Yeah.
look, if I want to get promoted, and keep a job, I've got to do my part. And
Yeah.
before you ask, Jim, yes, I'm wearing a Dolphins hat.
I see
Okay, right
that.
now they're 2-0 right now.
I
Okay,
know.
they're crushing it for the last two games. That is anyway.
Yeah, and one of them they went overseas, right? They played the game somewhere and they won. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it was overtime, one of them, but I still count it as a win. I mean, we still got
take it as absolutely.
But as always, we're going to talk about the last 30 days. I know you've had a lot going on personally, Jim, on your side. We've, obviously government shutdown stuff we'll talk about in a minute, but what all have you had going on from your side?
A lot of family stuff, right? So my oldest daughter's in the Coast Guard, ran the Marine Corps Marathon, which we went up and watched that. And that's a wonderful event and met so many veterans up there, talked to so many different people. Then 2 days later, she left to go to Guam, where she's going to be assigned there. So just when I thought she'd stay close in the U.S., she's somehow in the Coast Guard managed to get to Guam. And then my youngest is still in Korea. So two of my three daughters are far, far away as we approach the holidays. So I'm proud of them. But I'm a little selfish and want them to be here. But I know they're going to try to get together over the holidays since Guam and Korea, for those that are geographically challenged like I am most of the time, it's only a 4-hour flight from each other. So they're going to spend some time together. So all good and excited about, can't believe it's already mid-November going into Thanksgiving here. Time flies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The good news is like they're getting their overseas portion hopefully out of the way, right? So they're getting an opportunity to do that. So that's good. Yeah, I like you, my kid got married, so I took a little bit of time off, which is really unbeknownst. I mean, I completely threw my phone away. So and the good news, only a couple things burned down with the staff. That's part of the reason we're doing a town hall today, was to let you know that I didn't want to say it, like you can't do anything when we
wanted to do it in public. So you
exactly. But as always, I appreciate the staff for giving the time. I don't think you understand the importance of a wedding and seeing your kid get married until you physically go and do it. And of course, that's why we all live, right? Once you have kids, man, it's like it just kind of dawns on you. It's like, oh, okay, this is part of the reason that we're here, man. It's just to make better humans, if you can.
Exactly right.
Leah, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. And for everybody else that's here, we're going to go through a couple admin notes. As you guys know, as always, whatever platform that you're watching us on today, please, post up comments. If you got questions, post them up. Part of the reasoning behind these town halls is really for you guys that come and watch. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran, you're a family member, or of course, American public. All three matter, right? We need the voice of each one. Your experience and your perceptions is what helps shape much of the work that we do as an organization. The next one of these will be next month. So we'll have it on December 17th. Right. So that's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. CST for those that are in Central Time. And we will, it'll be the same location that you're watching it now. You'll be able to do it. So whether you're on YouTube, Meta, wherever you are, you have the ability to do it. But if we talk about something you're not sure, you don't understand it, please let us know. If we don't have the answers, which Jim and I often may not have the answers, right? We've got amazing people that work inside of the team with us. I don't like to say for us, I like to say with us, because they help us drive the train in the direct, the location that we want. And then we can get that information to you, and we'll connect you to the right person as it's there. Last thing, the only way to get your voice is missionrollcall.org, right? Go there if you haven't gone there already. We've got lots of stuff there that we can have you guys do, polls, surveys, all kinds of things. And there's a lot of really cool features coming. So you have that as well. All right, Jim, let's talk. Obviously, the elephant in the room, as we'll call it, was really the government being shut down.
Right.
Good news, Congress managed to come to an agreement. We know that there are several pieces of legislation that was connected with that. So basically the passing of the continuum resolution, which is great. And some interesting things came out of that. So I'd love for you just to elaborate on that a little bit if you can.
Yeah. So a couple things there. One is for the continuing resolution, we were able to, through your help and the surveys that we've done and the interactions that our team has had with key decision makers in DC and the team of one of Mike Desmond up in D.C., we were able to get the Second Amendment, Veteran Second Amendment Act into that bill, and that was important because that's the great news. The bad news is we have to do it again a year from now because it's only part of the resolution. But what it does is protects the rights of all of us when it comes to Second Amendment, our Second Amendment rights. So it allows us to continue to be able to get a weapon, even if we've asked for some help with some challenges that we may have with bad dreams or any number of things that before would automatically stop somebody being able to get a weapon. And of course, that's not right. You got to be able to have a judge involved and all these other things. So good work by the team on that. I think the other piece about the shutdown you could see that the American public was concerned about how veterans were being treated and the impacts to veterans. And so I did a lot of interviews, thanks to the team, and talked about the fact that 1 in 4 active duty military and 1 in 4 veterans have food insecurity issues, and that's before the shutdown. So when you add in the shutdown, that only exacerbates a very bad situation where families are struggling and individuals are struggling to make sure that they have nutrition and that they're taken care of. So we highlighted that with a number of major networks. And so I was busy on Veterans Day itself doing that. But it struck me that the American people understood that. They're supportive of veterans, and they weren't happy about the shutdown in general, but that only incensed them a little bit more that here are people, all of us, our families, those that are serving our families, in some cases not being threatened without getting the paycheck. And one of the things I talked about in that was, when you're just barely getting by, and now you're worried about that paycheck not coming in, and you're struggling to pay for groceries, put gas in the car, pay for child care. It's hard to stay focused on the mission. And so there's some issues there that needed to be addressed. So I'm happy we played such a key role, and under the unfortunate circumstances, we're able to get the voices out of veterans. And that's why those polls are so important. We were able to turn really quickly on some of that polling, share it with major networks and journalists across the country. Made a big impact.
Yeah, absolutely. For those watching, right above me, I think, I don't know, it's somewhere.
Yeah, it's right above you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm you see how I turn it on and off. But anyway, the QR codes will pop up here. So if we're talking about a subject area or a thing, you guys can look and use your phones. We're getting spiffy around here. Okay, we're adding some really unique things. Next, we'll have things flying around. I've asked for a C-130, Jim, to go across and people to jump out, but for some reason,
we're approaching that. I will need tech support.
But thanks for that, Jim. I know Mike and you both spend a lot of time on this, just seeing it. I think, and the important thing that you talked about, and it was hard for me to understand, is that the way that our government works and how this goes is like, oftentimes you think, something gets passed, man, and it's just kind of like it's law and it'll last forever. And this is a good case of, hey, just remember, almost everything that we're doing, it's not a one and done. This is a continuous reminder for us to provide the data to those that make the decisions. And that's what Mike lives in each day, just to make sure they have the right data and the right information to make the best decision for veterans. So
it's designed to be excruciatingly, frustratingly slow.
Yeah.
And when you add in the fact that only 3 or 4% of all the bills actually make it into law, you could see what we do is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for everybody that's here, obviously, happy belated Veterans Day to those that are veterans. We thank you very much. Obviously, we thank the families also for letting you borrow your loved one. So we I know we didn't do this prior to, but we're letting you guys know. Jim, we obviously heard what you did on Veterans Day, which was a lot of news. I think I hit my head on the bed when I was rolling over at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you had already done 3 interviews, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was a busy day. Yeah, it was extremely busy because my wife was traveling, so I had to put Rotor, the dog, in the bathroom in the other side of the house. and try to keep things quiet. And meanwhile, I'm talking and trying to stay focused on what the reporter's asking. I'm hearing howling, and you would have thought he was getting, attacked by some monster. It was just so frustrating. It was hard to concentrate.
You got to love dogs, man.
Yeah.
Dogs have no sense of embarrassment.
No
sense of like, like they just do. Like, I just remember having a dog and I just knew that if people came over, that she was going to do something that she had never done before to embarrass, because you get like, it's almost like, it's a family member. So you get embarrassed with just like the silliest stuff.
I know.
I'll have to tell you the story. I don't want to tell it on this because that's not really what this place is about. Okay. All right. So this month's survey. So we have this month's survey that's just come out. Everybody can look up there. The QR code is there. Good news. This month's State of the Veteran Community, Belonging, Isolation, and Connection. We did some of these questions. For those that have been taking our surveys, you saw some of these last year. We got to gauge each year, right? We've seen some really good things that have happened through this year on some of the bills and legislation and stuff that the team's working on, also led by Mike and then, of course, Jim. So a lot of these questions may be like, hey, why are they asking it again the following year? Well, because we now need to check in, right? Are we still status quo? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? And the best way for us to do that is that. So we'd ask you guys, if you get an opportunity, please stop in real quick. Take the survey. It'll literally only take you a few minutes. I think maybe 3 minutes total. Jimmy Brown, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in today. Britt, always good to see you. We need a rotor pop in immediately. Okay, Jim, could you bring?
Yeah, he said I can't. Oh, okay. He's at the vet getting groomed because he really just looks bad and gnarly, so, and he won't let me do it. So
you're like out of here. Yeah,
you get a haircut, brother.
I just want to let everybody know Jim makes me do the same thing. I had to actually shave my beard today. And, I'm kidding. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about last month's survey. And boy, oh boy, I was. We're not going to get into all these stats, Jim, but I'm looking forward to Mike and Roger and team kind of working through this and getting an article up. But I was very surprised, like I always am every time we do a survey. The results that come out from that thing and that we get. So I'm just going to give you two things that I saw that were on here that just kind of struck me, but there's many. One of those is 51% did not understand the range of the VA benefits at separation. That's the first thing. And then the second one, 87% said the VA or DoD didn't follow up about enrollment after separation. I think those are two really interesting issues. One, you don't even know what what the opportunities are, what you can actually do or not do, which we see that because not all veterans that are eligible can even enroll, right? They haven't enrolled because they didn't know. And then two, once let's say that they do learn about it, well, then they get out and there's no reconnection, right? There's not a system in place that's like trying to get them back in to go like, hey, we've got these benefits. So I didn't know if you had any kind of thoughts from your perspective on that, about that transition process, the VA benefits, and just the difficulty that we're going to continue to have if we don't work on this a little bit.
Well, first of all, it was shocking. I didn't think the numbers were going to be that high. But then again, I wasn't surprised because of some other polling that we had. But it really just underscores the importance of what we're doing. Because when we get that kind of information, we're sharing it with the VA. And we're sharing it with other veteran support organizations so that they can use that and make sure that when people are transitioning, getting out of the service, that they know what to do. It's a complex system, and I know the majority of veterans vote for the fact, or they want the ability for, as soon as you get out of service, you're automatically enrolled in the VA. And that the systems will talk to each other, and that happens. And that seems like an easy fix to this problem. We'll have to explore that a little bit more and see where the hiccups are, where the challenges are with that. But that would seem to be, from the outset, from the majority of veterans, something that needs to be looked at. But the fact of the matter is that the majority of veterans don't know what benefits they've earned is troubling. Because those benefits could make a real significant difference, not only for you, but for your family. And then if you think about if the majority of veterans are taking advantage of those benefits, that at some point you could see, for a cost-cutting initiative, the VA or the Department of Defense or somebody saying, well, you know what, the majority of veterans aren't using these benefits, let's cut them out. and where we've worked really hard to make sure we get those benefits. So I think it's real important for folks to find out what that is. They can go to Mission Roll Call, our YouTube page, or MRC University, and find out about that. That's a great first step on finding out what it is that you need to do. Go to the QR code. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that. And then I would ask those that have enrolled and are getting benefits and are utilizing the VA or all the benefits that you have, home loans, things like that, that you share that with folks that are getting out of the service and help them out. It's the buddy system, right? I mean, we all had a buddy, in the Army or Navy or Marines, and you had somebody that kind of helped you when you did a PCS move. There was always somebody there to help you to kind of get acclimated to where you are and find your house and all that kind of stuff. Same process. And we just need to do, as a community, better to do that. And that's why I'm so proud of what the work Valerie's doing and Leah's doing on our veteran resource group. It makes it real easy for people to go to our website and go, oh, these are some organizations I can get involved with. And these are some organizations that actually can help me with transition.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting thing. I mean, if you look at the VA or really, think of our time in the government, right? The government and it's not just government, we'll just say companies in general. Over time, you have so much information, it becomes really hard to create a path for somebody who's not been in that information to find where they need to go. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very difficult. And I think for the VA, that's one of the things I know that they're working on. I'm pretty sure that, Mike and I have talked about that before, about that they want to make a difference. They want to try to fix that, but it's a slow moving train. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of process there. There's and then once you've changed something or you do something, you then have to find a way to get that now out to the 17 to 18 million veterans so that they know that it's happening. Right. So this is like an ever turning problem that's just going to continue. So if you got somebody coming out, they're not connected to the outside veteran population, then there's no information share. Because I know for sure I didn't know to even look at the VA.
I know you're so right. And if you think about it, it's the largest healthcare system in the world. Yeah. Right. Yeah. By far. And things are constantly changing. So I would imagine even the senior leadership doesn't even know everything that changes. That's right. The VA is larger than the U.S. Army. Yeah. So think about, does everyone in the Army know exactly what's going on in the rest of the Army? Well, the answer to that is absolutely no. Yeah. So it's the same with the VA. And so they do have a very steep hill to climb to make sure from a communication standpoint that people understand it. But then on the other portion is we need to make sure as a veteran community, we're accessing the information that's there. We're finding out about it. Our voices are being heard. And, we can do polling on, are you finding the information easy? Have you been able to do this? And we can share that with the VA so they can help address the issue. But it is important that I think the veteran community, we access the benefits that we have. Some of them we can use, some of them we can't. Yeah. But it's important that we understand it. And the hope would be that in the transition process, that information would be transferred. But it's always the human element, right? So if you have somebody who's doing that doesn't really understand it, or maybe they're short on time, all that information doesn't get transferred. So at the end of the day, it's incumbent on all of us to make sure that all of us are taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's spot on. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about another selfless plug for us as an organization. We, the team wanted to do a limited edition shirt, and I know Jim and I talked about this. We had worked with so many amazing veterans. Every day it's like the excitement is about the impact that we have, but then the people that we're like engaging with and talking to and all of that. And we thought, man, what a great way to go to each one of them and ask them like, hey, we would love to do a limited edition design t-shirt and use your rank and your name to create that shirt. And that's exactly what we did. So this is the 2025 limited edition shirt. This is going to be running all the way through our next town hall, which is gonna be December 17th for those that maybe came a little bit late. So December 17th, we'll do this the same bat time, same bat channel. We would ask you guys QR code above. You are supporting the organization, so you're supporting us the work that we do as an organization for the veterans, and all of that. So we appreciate you guys considering. And for those that have already purchased a shirt, look, we'd ask you guys to take a photo, right? And submit it on Meta or wherever you guys are, like this post. You can just submit a picture of your shirt. And then that way I can, put my face over the top of yours and look like I have different body types.
There you go. It's good quality too. I mean, I know the team worked really hard on finding the right vendor for it. So it's great quality and a lot of different colors and things you can choose from. And the hoodie's cool. So I should have wore it today. We were planning.
I just thought about that.
I don't know why I didn't wear it today.
All good. We should have wore it today. That we could have just saw it. We'll do it December.
There's got to be somebody in the organization to blame for that oversight. I don't know who. I'll leave it up to you.
I'm gonna blame Rotor. I think it's Rotor. If Rotor had been here, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah,
it's always the dog's fault.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to take us back to Warren. Thank you so much for being here, and of course Augustus as well. Oh, got a t-shirt. Thank you, Augustus. Appreciate it. I want to hit on Warren's real quick. Warren put here, guessing many people were impacted by the shutdown and that trickle into the holidays. Are there any VSOs you recommend that could help, especially for kids and for families? What I would recommend, Warren, is part of our team here. Valerie is one of the folks that's on our team. Also, Leah. They're very focused on the nonprofit VSO side. If you can send us an email at info@missionrollcall.org, we'll connect that, and then we can have that discussion with you to connect you with the right people and the right folks. We've got 86, I think, VSOs that we physically have talked to. We know that they're like fired up to support veterans. We see them doing it, and we've kind of brought them onto the team to be accepted of that. So we'd love you to do that if you can. So I don't know if you guys can post that up, that would be great for, at least the email so that they can use it. Okay, Jim. So when we got here, I think about the very first team meeting we had. And I remember us talking about, Blue Star families, Silver Star families, and Gold Star families, right? And like that recognition about it. And of course, one of our team members that, that we were lucky to get, Britt, at the time, we had never heard of such a thing, but she'd mentioned kind of like no star families, right? Like this idea that there was no designation for a family that endured the absence of their family member once that individual left service, right? Like, so these other families would always kind of be like in this tight knit tribe, like we talk about all the time for veterans, right? Like a tribe, a group, this feeling of belonging, where for Britt, where she opened up a little bit, was like this idea, like there's nothing there for the families that aren't part of those three groups. There is no designation. There is no indicator for that. So I was interested from your perspective, how important it is that, not that we create a new designation, right? Because that's not really our responsibility. We're going to do that inside of Mission Roll Call, by the way. We already have, because we understand where Britt's coming from. But from your perspective, that we remember that behind every veteran, there's a family of some sort. That could be a mom, that could be a dad, that could be a brother, it could be a sister, or it could be a wife and kids.
Yeah. I mean, you think about our ability as veterans to deploy, to do the jobs that we did, and then raise a family at the same time. And I mean, they're in the service too, in a way, because they're worried about you. They're continuing to raise your family while you're deployed or involved with something else. You think about moms and dads worried for years as their children deploy, and no matter how old your kid gets, they're still your kid, and you worry about them no matter where they are. And you think about all the dependents, right? All those kids that moved so many times, had to change schools so many times and make new friends. I mean, that affects kids. Some kids adapt to it pretty easy, but some it really affects them when they have to move and leave their friends, especially when you talk about high school years. And usually that's the part of your career where you're a little more senior and you're moving more. So I think it's really important for us to, and I think that's why we, from the very beginning, talked about veterans and their families making Mission Roll Call. And we wanted them to be involved with taking the polling and having their voices heard, because we all know there's 18 million veterans in our country. But when you think about the average family size in the US. Now you're talking about 45 to 50 million people that have a direct relationship with those that are serving. And that's a sizable voting block. And that's a powerful voice to be heard. So when Britt said that, I remember it was at an offsite, she talked about it, and we all just went, yeah, you're onto something here. Let's talk about that. And so I thought it was very insightful. I'm glad that we were coalesced behind it. And more importantly, I think we've gotten a lot of feedback from people out there go, yes, thanks for finally recognizing this. So I think there's a lot of work to be done there. And love to hear from people about that and see what they think we should be doing. But I'm glad that we discussed it, and I'm glad we're engaging on it and we're sharing it with the audience, and hopefully more and more folks can get involved with that.
Yeah. And I think what Britt, kind of what Britt was talking about, and I don't mean to speak for her, by the way, but just from my understanding of kind of the conversation, the goal was not to redefine the military star system or to create that. It was just meant to acknowledge that there's families that existed outside of those three, and not to forget about the service that they provided. And for those, you guys can read the post that we have an actual article on this.
It's a great article
for us. Yeah. And for us, like, we understand it at MRC because we are hearing the voices of both the veterans and their families. We're hearing from American public, and you put all that together and you start to really be able to like see a much broader view of where we are and understand that we always talk about that idea of, back when the American Legion and the GI Bill, and like that, if they had not stood up and did that generations forward, we would not have the GI Bill. We wouldn't have such a thing. So it's that same mindset now of start that conversation, because this is generations. My kid, at his age, I was part of that 20-year, war. So for me, he's seen, and he was part of that. We're not going to be out of that until he's my age, which is, probably a good 30, 35 years for him, so I think that there's a point there that she was bringing up. And for her, it was about being a kid. So that's kind of the next question I have for you. As we talk about veterans have like tribes, right? We always talk about this transition, and like, man, this is dual sided. You as a veteran have got to find your tribe. And at the same time,
I just got a little bit of a cold here.
Oh, you're good. Sorry. You as a veteran got to find your tribe. And then now you kind of understand a little bit more. It's the same thing for like kids, but like, how does a kid do that? If they're in military schools and they're going through the system, and I'm going to on base, and all of a sudden I get lifted up and then I get taken to, somewhere else. Now that child, you're expecting them to be able to have that same mentality as like a veteran, and that could be really, really difficult. So I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I was talking to my oldest daughter, and when we lived at West Point, that was my final assignment. And then we moved to New Jersey, where I was taking the job, making the transition. She was having a hard time those first week or so. And finally, I went and asked her, "What's going on, honey? You seem very out of sorts, and that's not you." I think she was a third or fourth grader at the time, so still a little girl, right? She said, "Dad, I don't hear the booms." And I went, "Booms?" And then I realized it was the cannons.
Yeah.
Because we lived right in the center of post, and in the morning, the cannons would go off, right? And then in the evening, retreat, cannons would go off. So her day was kind of guided by those booms. And I didn't really think much about it, but a little kid getting up for school, coming home, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it was gone. It just wasn't there anymore. Right. So I had to explain to her that, you now have to use a clock, and I really can't put a cannon out in front of the house. I wish I could, but it was so cute. And it was just a minor, kind of transition, but, think about it now, it was big. It was important to her at that young age. And then you think about kids that are doing that in high school years and later. It's a huge transition and very difficult for many people. And it's not just the kids, right? It's the mom and the dad and all those things. And that's what we talk about in transitions, the ability to, have a good network and find meaningful employment and all of those sort of things that are so important to have a successful transition. But just because they're little kids, it's not a little problem. To them, it's a big problem.
No, 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's why we do everything that we do too. So it's, such a powerful thing. And Britt did reply and said that I'm allowed to speak for her. So I'm going to call her husband and see if I can get a little bit of money for, new pair of shoes. I'm just kidding, Britt. But she says, thank you for supporting me and my experiences. Britt, it's easy. Look what you do every single day. There are many families that go through divorce or separation and lose the military community that they grew up in. That's just one example, but so important to feel seen and heard. Yeah, and we definitely love to hear, just like Britt says here, we'd love to hear from you guys on this. I mean, the idea of the No Star family for us is just, again, we just don't want people to lose. It's kind of like that idea of 9/11, right? I for the first time, I never thought in my lifetime that I would meet somebody that did not know about 9/11. And not even 3 days ago, I talked to a younger person and I asked them about, and they did not know what it was.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was like, wow. I mean, that's interesting, right?
Well, now you have people in the military that were born after.
Yeah.
Right. So it's time flies.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. And again, if you guys have questions or anything that you have on your side, please, post them up and we will, we'll do it. That's what I'm talking about. Fins up.
Back to the No Star thing. It's also those positive stories. I mean, I've met people where, they're not in the military or not a veteran, but they say, I grew up on this and such post.
That's right.
And that was, and it was positive for them. They had a great experience and they have fond memories of their mom or dad being in the service and all of that. So I think it's important to capture that in a way, and we all know it, the whole family serves.
That's right.
And to recognize that, and
it makes you unique. You know what I mean? Makes you unique.
Absolutely.
I mean, in a world where we're all kind of the same, man, it's it's a unique thing to do it. Well, not only do we have a powerful story from Britt this last 30 days, like we said, the team has been all over it. I was actually on the outside of this, and the team does great. But Mike Desmond, which for the folks that don't know, Mike spends a lot of time focused on the advocacy side for us as an organization, and helping make sure that your voice is delivered exactly how it should be through everything. We had done the survey. Mike spent some time to kind of throw 3 articles together that I would implore you to read. Like, I mean, they're very well done. We're only going to go over 1 article today. We're actually going to go over the next 2 on the next town hall. And like I like to do is to go into something where I really haven't read it and put my own twist based off of what I hear Mike is saying. And then Jim, I'd love to ask you some questions as I kind of go through this. So this is my take. Highly recommend that you guys take a little bit of time to do this. The basis of this is that veteran suicide has kind of remained flat for nearly 2 decades, right? Like, this is one of the ways that we, I like to say coerced, and that's not really what happened. But one of the ways that we got Mike here is through the passion that we have on the idea of just veteran issues in general, right? Over time, we all become family. Sometimes we're going to, you're going to have things, but like in this space, we know that we want to make an impact. Veteran suicide is one of those where it's just like, it's bewildering. We spent billions of dollars. We've been doing the thing and there's no change. One of the things I read that Mike talks about is this idea that it's a very reactive process. Like there's not a, veterans are already in the crisis. You can't, it's kind of where we talk about, Jim, like, I got to know the problem to fix it. Like, you can't if I'm just spinning around in the middle, just trying to put out fires, but I'm not putting out the guy, that's 30 feet away, lighting each one of the flames that are coming. You're never going to get past that thing. Yeah. And I think Mike does a really good job. I'm definitely simplifying it just so everybody knows. But there's a simplification of that's what he's saying. Like, this is a reactive process. They're already in crisis. We're not going to that front part and really focusing on it. So here's thought 1, or really, I guess, kind of second, but one of the first thoughts that came from it. And we've got some polls and stuff here, surveys that the team will put up so you guys can see them. But the first one is veterans miss a sense of camaraderie, right? Like, there is that sense that there's something there once they leave service is a little bit more of an issue. And I think we all feel that. So I wanted to kick that over to you, Jim, for your comments.
Yeah. And it's amazing when you look at that number, right? It's 85% recognize that you have, that's significant, right? It's either it's either strongly agree or agree that that sense of camaraderie plays a key role. And we know that because we all can identify with that. It's one of the things I really missed when I first went into corporate America was, at the end of the business day, you went home and there was just none of that camaraderie or being part of something bigger than yourself. And
Yeah.
it just, it makes you then reminisce about the impact you had when you're in the service. And so then you don't feel really positive about the job you're in. So then maybe you're not doing as well in the job that you're in. And so then you change jobs, and then and Mike does a wonderful job of weaving all these things of how it all connects to each other. But if you don't recognize this from the beginning and put in some things that are going to mitigate it, and by that, I mean, understand that you're going to have that feeling. So how do you lessen that feeling? Well, you have to find something else that's going to make you be part of something bigger than yourself. You're going to find it. You got to find another group of people that you're going to do a network with, and you're going to have camaraderie around. And so no one's going to do that for you. You own that. And we know that those things, if they're not in the system, it contributes to kind of a negative slide in your psyche and your performance and in your relationships really with other people. And those other people are normally your family. And then that friction starts. And so I think it's important that this was highlighted and talked about. And I think we need to share it and really read it. I would urge everybody to read it and then get a sense of where you sit in that, and then think about how others you may know are dealing with that.
Yeah. I had an interesting take on this, because when I read this, and I'm in a lot of chats and stuff, and John's kind of talking about it here, with his question, and I'll read it in a second. But one of the things that hit me, and Mike probably did not mean for this to happen, but when I read it with the camaraderie and some of the other areas that are here, there's this point of like, I asked myself, like, what have I done? Right. Like every day I wake up and I do this job, right? Like I do. And I call it a job, but for me, it's it's a passion. I love this. This is like, but then in my personal life, I say, well, once I take my MRC shirt off, figuratively, right? I've taken this off and I move into, when's the last time that I reached out to somebody that was in during my time to see how they're doing, and then how I can help them coming out, right? Realistically, normally I'm waiting for them to reach out to me. And then immediately it starts to hit me with this idea of like, well, man, Mike's on to a point here where, you need the camaraderie. Well, in some instances, I didn't know how to find it because I didn't really stay in contact with the folks that were there before, because, but it's easier for me to look back and remember. I'm going to remember a Mike and a Jason and a Valerie and these others where they may not remember me, not because I did make an impact in their life, but they've still got years of service and many things that are going to happen to them that are outside of that norm. So yeah, that's one thing I got out of this also with the camaraderie is like, there's a point here where I think we as veterans can help with this, from that piece. The other thing, Jim, is there was this, my second thought on this was, he mentioned it ain't easy to build a network after service. And if you can throw that up for us, Nate, real quick, that survey, so we can look at it.
Yeah.
I went when I was getting out, LinkedIn was kind of like the new fire, right? It was like, you got to get on LinkedIn, man. Like that's the new thing. And it wasn't really built up yet to be that. You'll go a little bit lower, Nate.
Yeah.
We can see it. It should be, there you go, right there. So basically building a social network, kind of getting out and about. And I wondered to myself, like, man, realistically, the majority of the folks that I really needed to connect actually were on social, to be fair. Like they were on Meta, they were on LinkedIn, they were on, Twitter, some of these other areas. And there was I didn't learn that until I was already 2 years past getting out, right? Like there was nobody told me, like everybody pushed me towards LinkedIn. But the problem with LinkedIn is it was a very business focused environment. It didn't put me back into this idea of camaraderie, which is that first thought that Mike had. And I'm like, oh man, okay, this is an interesting quandrum just for my own mental state of, man, I'm getting told one thing and this other thing, and then those things aren't intersecting. So I don't know what you think, Jim, from your perspective on building that network, and how that impacts also what kind of Mike was talking about in this article.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on it. And I think it is so important. And it's important to kind of start that network actually before you get out, right? That you're starting to build in the community where you're going to live, in the places that you work. You start that process before you actually hit the ground, because it takes time. I think the other thing is that all of us kind of have a tendency to go, I got this. I really don't need anybody else. I've done this A, B, and C and D, and I got that. Well, I would say all of us on any given day benefit from an interaction with somebody that we have a lot of respect for, or somebody that we served with, or somebody that we work with, and getting their perception and just having that interaction with each other. And today with technology, you can do that a lot easier than, years and years ago, where it was very difficult to find people and then reach out to them. It usually took a long time. So now we have a little bit easier in that sense, but that doesn't make it really any more pronounced, the fact that you feel kind of removed, even though you have all the social media to do that. I think the other thing is you can't keep count in life.
That's right.
And what I mean by that is, maybe you have reached out to somebody 1, 2, 3 times and haven't heard back. Don't keep count. You don't know what's going on in their life right then. Continue to reach out. And I think that's important, because they may be in a real place where they need you to contact them just one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think the other thing is that when you get on your feet and you get settled and you're starting to feel good about yourself, you're not finished. And that's what we talk about, service to service, right? And you talked about it, when you take off this, what else are you doing? It's important for us to reach back to those that are behind us, or even the same year groups that we had, they may need a little bit of help of plugging into the community, because, and this is really hard if you're introverted, by the way.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. If you're an extrovert and you can walk in the room and shake hands and talk to people and that this is easy. But if you're an introvert, which a lot of people are, I don't know what percentage, but this is draining. This takes a lot of effort, and it's the last thing you want to do. So, and we talk about that in some of our other podcasts that we've had, and I think on MRC University as well, on networking. So, and then I would say to anybody who's on the call that needs a little help with us, give us a call. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm sure Ray is. I'm sure the whole team is, from different perspectives on how you can do that.
Yeah. And that old adage, transition never ends. Like, it's like you will always be in a transition state after military service. Wendy brought up here, finding a new unit is the most important thing a transitioning soldier can do outside of being patient and setting up benefits. It was important for my husband. Yeah. I mean, that's that idea of a tribe. That's that idea of finding somebody's, others that you can share, life with. It just, it's just so important. I mean, we continue to see it time and time again. And John, we're not moving past your comment too fast, but I think yours is a good kind of reminder that, veteran suicide is part of why we are here. And it's one of many, right? You as members, or we'll say supporters of what Mission Roll Call is, which is basically us supporting your voice, getting it there. We understand that there's things that you guys are telling us that you want us to focus on, and suicide continues to be it. And we are all very focused on trying to figure this out, man. It's like, it just can't continue. And it's just hard to just watch it and not try to fix it. I mean, we're doing everything we can. All right. Anyway, so the thought 3 was this idea of adding structure opportunities for connection after service. And Nate, if you guys can pull this up. This idea, part of it's like the survey, but then I read what Mike has put. And the interesting part for me on this one, like this is not like, I mean, and Mike says it like right at the thing, right? These are not exotic solutions. I mean, the
Right.
idea here is just like put in a process to help with adding structure to set people up for success. I like to tell the story for me. I got out of the military. One of the things I did is I found the USO. I was doing transition stuff at the time, and I was not the right guy to be doing transition stuff. I wasn't. Why? Because I really had not transitioned yet. I just went to the US. Like I'm still doing, military stuff. I didn't know. And the majority of people that are walking into my office to ask for support are folks that are looking for Fortune 500 companies or Fortune 50, or they want to start their own business or these things. So there's a part of this where structuring these opportunities with the right people and the right framework can really have a huge impact on the transitioning service member and the family, because that's an important part here. We often leave out the family as part of this, and really the family should be way more involved as this part. So I'd like to kick it over to you, Jim, just kind of your thoughts here. I mean, obviously we got the numbers here, but the idea of having that preventive wellness, the opportunities kind of there for you, and as part of that process as you're moving through.
Yeah, I think it's important to just embrace the fact that transition is going to be difficult, no matter if you have a job lined up or not. You know where you're going. You don't know where you're going. I think some people just underestimate it and wait too long. They don't talk to people. And then you have to get involved in the community in some way, shape, or form. So if it's not a veteran support organization, we have 86 on our resource directory that we've talked to, we've worked with. We know they're doing great work. It could be something as simple as getting involved in a local chamber of commerce, a Rotary club, coaching a little league team, all of those sort of things that just get us plugged into the community. Because at the end of the day, no matter where we came from, what our demographic is, what our social economic background is.
Yeah.
The one strand of DNA that goes through all of us is we like to help other people.
Yeah.
We like to be involved in helping and serving. And that's part of our DNA. It's the way we're hardwired. And to suppress that, not to recognize that, is a mistake. And so I think you just have to embrace it and try to get involved with it. And the busier you are, the better off you're going to be in that process. So I just say dive into it. And you might get into an organization that's not the right fit. That's not the end of the world.
That's right.
There's a bunch of other ones to get into, and you learn from another one. So I think it's just getting involved. And to your point, it's thinking about the whole family as well. And there's not enough work being done there. And I'm so glad that we're addressing it. And we have a lot of family members that I think are taking our polls and taking our surveys and getting involved with it. And that's good for the whole community as well as us.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the other articles. And Nate will put the QR code back up here for everybody. I would ask you guys to go out and read the articles from Mike. They're very good. We're going to talk about the second and third article and the next one. I really wanted to focus on this one because this one, the mental wellness is like that, like that's the, that's the epidemic, right? Like that's the start of this. And I went through, all of us go through it. It's this, like, I gotta belong. I belonged in military service. I knew what I was doing. I woke up every day. I had a mission, all of that. And then all of a sudden it's just not there. Yeah. And I really enjoy the way that Mike kind of dissects this and looks at it from his perspective, right? I mean, again, it's his perspective, but there's definitely pieces of that hit it. Wendy, we are here for you guys. So thank you for acknowledging the work that we do, but at the end of the day, we need you to do this. So thank you for being part of the community. We can't thank you enough. Leah said that Ray says he's not a transition guy, but when he worked at the USO, he helped my husband find a career after transitioning out of the Army. That was 2017, and my husband is still in that career field today. Hey, every once in a while, a horse can find water. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even a broken clock is correct twice a day.
Exactly.
There you go.
That is just called hard work, and I absolutely want to help. Right. So
that's a great story. I didn't know that. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It is a true story. Yeah. I help people every once in a while. Like it's not all the time, but every once in a while. Pete, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well, man. Scott, good to see you, buddy. That's right. Yeah. End of service doesn't mean stop serving. 100% agree. Like that's the whole point here. So I think from our side, Jim, I think what we're saying here ultimately, and what Mike's getting at as part of this, not the full thing, is we also have to reach back into that pot and make sure we're reaching in for our brothers and sisters to help them.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to see over the wall. You don't know what's over the wall. I do.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the wall. So sometimes we need to do that. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. And I think, I know for myself, I had a hard time asking somebody for help. I wasn't wired that way. And, it took a while and it was a great transition, but there was things missing. And it wasn't until I kind of talked to other guys and gals, I went, oh yeah, of course. Now I get it. Now I know what's missing. You just have to ask. And
the other part is like, I don't want anybody to suffer alone, man. Like I don't think any of us do. No. Right. Like, I mean, we suffered together with all the stuff that we did, and I call it suffer. I mean, it's a good time. Right. But like, I don't want somebody to be out there trying to figure their way. Let me help you suffer a little bit through that and get to the end state, right? Get there a little bit faster. But that's just how we're bred, man. We're bred to just like run. And then all of a sudden you hit something, you're like, oh crap. Okay. Maybe I'll do my first swipe, and try to get somebody to help me without telling them I need help. Hey, how are things? Hey, yeah, great, man. Saw you transition. How did it go? But you don't want to, hey man, I'm having problems. You just want to kind of beat around the bush.
No, yeah. And you think about everybody you talk to when you meet them and they're going through a transition and you ask them how things are going, everyone 100% say it's going great.
Yeah, it's going great. Yeah.
That can't be true. That can't be true.
I did the same thing. I'm not making fun of anybody here, by the way. Okay. The next thing, Last Emission podcast. Wow. Man, we've again, I can't wait for us to put out the impact report this year and just show the work the team's doing. Like it is like unbelievable for such a small team. Like I just, every day I'm like, we are moving too fast. Hopefully we don't burn anybody out. But one of those examples is Mountain Valor. So one of the folks on our team, Jim, as you know, P Funk or Jason, for those out there, had an opportunity to meet with Mountain Valor, and we had an opportunity to, just to support them. And the cool part about all of our time and other nonprofits, the one thing we wanted to be was to be a light, a beacon, and somebody that would not, kind of be going against another nonprofit, being like an obstacle, but like opening our arms and pulling them in and saying, hey, what's ours is yours and what's yours is yours. Right. Like at the end of the day, we don't want what you have. We want to support you, because at the end of the day, our job is supporting veterans. You support veterans. So when we talk about the Veteran Resource Directory and we talk about the 86 organizations that are there, I would ask you to reach out to those 86 organizations and say, hey, what do you think about Mission Roll Call? Because we say what we mean, we mean what we say, right? We are supporting that, and we support them. Mountain Valor is a prime example of this. Jason having a conversation. Next thing you know, they need a van because they do a lot of rural veterans that are in the, the mountains of Virginia. So the western side of Virginia. I don't want to say West Virginia, because then Mike could be like, but Virginia, right? The west side, that don't have the ability to get to their appointments. And then he comes back, he talks to Britt. Britt knows somebody that then knows somebody else. And then next thing you know, Mountain Valor's getting a vehicle. And then it's like, oh, well, we need and then you talk to somebody like it's networks, right? It's networks. Yeah. And I know you speak about that a lot, Jim. And I'd love to kick it over to you, this idea of, one, the relationship that we have with not only Mountain Valor, but other nonprofits and what we do. But then two, this idea that it's really, really important for VSOs to make this one team, one fight. Separation is not going to get us to the end stop.
Yeah, so much unpackaged there, but I think when we embarked on this early on, we talked about the fact that we wanted to be a hub. We wanted veterans to be able to come to our website, find what they need through our resource directory, and we're doing that, and tell their stories through our podcasts and through the media and all of that. No one else is doing that. At the end of the day, it's important for us to support veterans. And if that means that we can do that through another veteran support organization by getting them the assets that they need in the area that they need and what they do, their specialty, then we're going to do that. And many times when I do an interview, I talk about another organization and actually plug them and say, you should support them. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that veterans get the help they need, that they are flourishing in their transition, and that their families are doing well. And so I don't look at it as competition at all between other organizations. I want to make sure that we do it in a way that supports other organization and helps the greatest amount of veterans. And to me, that was the classic story of the team just getting it done.
That's right.
With the ethos that we set, and that is, let's be helpful to others. And they just did it. I mean, Jason did a wonderful job finding out about the organization, doing some legwork and validating what they were doing, and then coming to Britt and then hey, this is a good story, we should tell it. And oh, by the way, I know somebody at Chive Charities that may be able to help. And then we worked it, and then game changer for that organization. We've taken them years to find a van like that, and it happened within weeks. So it's just a wonderful story, and I think it just validates what we're doing, that it works. But if we can get more people to take the polls, if we can continue to grow, and we can continue to open our arms to reach more organizations, we're going to have that much more impact and that much more ability to help others. And so I'm excited by that, and I hope that other organizations can do the same.
Yeah. And I think you and I I remember it's like the first conversation that we had coming into this organization, which is like, oh, there's 40,000 BSOs out there. And then the further that we got into the number of veterans, and then the number of family members, and then like you really start to blow this out, you're like, 40,000 ain't enough. Like, when you think about a number as big as 18 million, you just do a little bit of division there, and then you put 40,000 as I mean, that's still a lot of veterans each organization is trying to support.
Yeah. Right? And there's not an overlay of where all those veterans are, where every VSO is. So that's the other thing, right? So you have people in rural communities, or even along the Gulf Coast, that are void of VA facilities and all of that. And it's a difficult proposition for them to plug into the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so we have the podcast, Nate, and then we'll put the QR code back up here in a few minutes. There it is right there. It's like magic. See, it's just like, pow, pow, pow.
You just put your finger in it.
Yeah. Just here, let me see if it works over here. Okay. No. Well, it didn't work over there.
It did. Oh my gosh.
It did work over there. It did pop up. Okay. All right. These guys are good. Okay. But if you guys can, go, watch that episode. It's a classic definition of what you as the veterans, the families, and the American public help us do. Because again, without your voice, we cannot do what we're doing here. All right, we're gonna get to our favorite part, Jim, which is answering a little bit of questions from the audience, which is good. I mean, we're at 57 minutes, so if all goes well, we'll finish this when we finish it. Unfortunately, okay. I blame Rotor for the time that we went.
Oh yeah.
By the way.
Oh
yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the first one. Let's see if I've talked to this one. I have not. So it looks like Warren guessing many people were impacted by the shutdown, and that'll trickle into the holidays. Okay, yeah, we talked about that. So Warren, again, just a real quick on that. If you can shoot us a message, shoot us an email. We'd love to connect with you a little bit more on that, especially if you're here right now. Okay, John asked, new here, but what does becoming a member with mission roll call mean? Well, we can't get into all the finer details of becoming a member because we got a lot of features that are coming. But what I will tell you, when we say member, John, that means being part of the community, right? Your membership is giving us your voice. That's what we're asking for.
That's right.
Becoming a member on the website allows you to get notifications when we have polls and we have surveys. That way, each month you're going in, you're taking these surveys, and you're getting your voice heard, right? And look, if you got a family, you got other folks that that are served, we need it. We need your voice. We try to keep the number of surveys and stuff down to, I'm not going to say a minimum, but we do less than the amount that we do, so that we know, like, hey, every month we're going to do this. We're going to put a survey out. We want you to come. And like we did for the shutdown, we actually, last town hall, we had a poll that we put on the page for you guys to take. And then
that's right.
Mike and team delivered that almost immediately. So thanks for that question, John. That's what it means. missionrollcall.org. We'd love to have you join there. Jim, I'm going to push this one over to you to answer.
Please.
So Tori says, COVID and post-COVID perspective, it has been much harder to find that camaraderie since COVID. Although in many ways, the veteran community has been better about it. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, COVID was a major change in society, right? And a lot of people were isolated, and there's some people that are still suffering from that, not only physically from the disease, but also from the isolation of that, of not going in the office and losing jobs and all of that. I think what separates us as a military community is that, like I mentioned earlier, I think we want to help each other, and we have organizations like ours that are trying to bring people together. There's a lot of civilians that just don't have that, right? I mean, it may be your college that you went to, or your football team you were part of, or a church group or something like that in your community. But I mean, we truly are a melting pot within the military of people from all over, from different branches and different backgrounds. So I think we have the ability to do that more at scale and help each other out. So, but boy, it takes effort, right?
Yeah.
But thank you for that comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for always coming to these, man. So I appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, buddy. Okay. The next one is from, looks like Ben Whitney. How can those of us who didn't serve help to connect those who want to help somebody? It's a tough spot to be in if you want to help, but don't know how. Ben, we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, right? Like this idea that there is an important intersection between veterans, their families, and the American public, right? All have perceptions and want to support. The best thing you can do is also provide your voice, right? And I know you're thinking is kind of like, oh, well, that's, I mean, well, how does my perception? Well, it matters because, oftentimes, even though I don't completely agree with this, what I'm about to say, but oftentimes for some, perception is reality. So understanding what you are thinking and how you visualize something helps us understand what decision makers may also be thinking, right? Because that's normally how those things filter in. So that's the very first way I would tell you, become part of the community, become part of the organization with your voice, take our surveys, take our polls. That's probably the most important thing that we could do from that. The second part is we have not released the volunteer program yet, but it's close. Like it's close. The team that's behind that, which is Valerie and Leah, as you guys can hear us, we're talking about, almost the same people over and over again. We're a very small team, but those two will be more than happy to kind of pull you in, Ben, and then talk a little bit about, how you'd like to get involved with that. And there's a lot of really great opportunities. Again, we like to go out to other nonprofits and VSOs events. We like to be part of it with them. We do polls and surveys out there, and we need volunteers to come out with us, interact with those veterans, and be part of it. It's one family. So Jim, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I would say you're not alone. I mean, there's a lot of organizations that have people that volunteer for them, and we hope you volunteer for us, that have that weren't veterans. I think of my years at the USO. We had thousands of volunteers across the Southeast. The vast majority of them were not veterans, but they had an affinity and a love for those that did serve, and they wanted to be part of that. And they were the greatest people I ever worked with. But they had a dad who was in the military. They had a brother or a sister, grandfather. Just because you didn't actually serve in the military doesn't mean that you can't support veterans and use your expertise and your passion to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'd love to have you. Heather asked, so I saw y'all at the event in Texas. Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Nate and Roger.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Where's the next event? And I got a message, Heather. Well, actually, I knew this. I knew this off the top of my head, by the way. So if it looks like I'm reading, that's not what's happening here. But the next event in that area is going to be April 18th. So that's the Austin Grill Your Ass Off event. So would love to have.
That's got Nate written all over it too, doesn't it? Grill Your Ass Off. I mean,
yeah,
that's just so
Jason and Nate, man. That's pretty much, and that's the actual name of the organization. So for those, we're not trying to, curse to curse, like that's the actual name of the organization. But we'll have that up on our socials soon, Heather, as we move into 2026. And we got a lot of events planned for 2026. So you're going to see us out and about way more than you probably have seen us in the past, which is good because we're now moving forward kind of into the next phase of what Mission Roll Call is going to be. But as always, everybody, thank you guys so much for coming out. We can't thank you guys enough for being here. Jim, before I close it out, wanted to pass it over to you for any kind of final comments. I know Thanksgiving's coming, so I'm sure you probably wanted to make a note of that for folks.
Yeah, no, thank you. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, right? It's 2 weeks away. It's time for us to be with families and friends, and those of us that have served and been in different places. We remember some of those times we had Thanksgiving in a tent or with our unit, and we had the opportunity to serve them the food for Thanksgiving, and it wasn't quite as good as home, but the company was great. We all have that ability today in our lives to reach out to local food banks, to reach out to other veteran support organizations, see how we can be helpful as a community. I know you all will do that because that's who you are. And spend a little time being thankful for all the blessings we have, and then think about others that may be in the need of some help. So I thank all of you for participating in these calls and being part of the community. And I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, appreciate that, Jim. As always, ask you guys to join us, missionrollcall.org. We need your voice. Continue to spread this if you guys will. At the end of the day, when you understand that without you, right, we can't make change. When we have 100,000, a million, 5 million veterans voices that are getting delivered, it is very powerful. So we're going to continue to drive this train as fast as we can. And we'd love you guys and gals to jump on and do that. Thank you for your service. As always, belated Veterans Day to you. And of course, thank you for the spouses and the families. We appreciate you for allowing us to borrow your loved one. We'll see you guys next month, December 17th. Jim, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll see you guys.